Hey everyone, this is Matt at IPMNation.com at the 4th Annual Holistic Fair in Nashua, New Hampshire, and I'm sitting here with Dee Bingham. How are you, Dee?
I am fine, Matthew.
And it's good to see you here today. We met, I think it was a couple months ago now on Norm's Psychic World. You came on
That's
the show,
correct.
and you kind of gave Norm a run for his money.
Did I?
You didn't take any guff from him, which was good. So I appreciated that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, he's a guffsome person.
Absolutely. That's why we love him. So have you been having a good time here at the Holistic Fair today?
Actually, yes. We've had a lot of people looking for channeling and numerology. Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I'm surprised.
And are those kind of the two main areas that you work in, channeling and numerology?
Wendy, of course, who was with me on the radio
Right,
show, my partner, Wendy Owen,
Wendy Owen, yeah.
does the numerology. I do the tarot and the channeling.
Okay.
And we expected to do a lot of tarot readings, but we surprisingly had a majority of people who wanted channeling
No kidding.
today.
Yeah.
And talked to some interesting spirits that the people brought with them. Because I don't do ancient Egyptians and 2,000-year-old
Right.
unidentifiable types. I do people, spirit guides that you know in life.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
Now, I see your ads occasionally in the Hippo Press in Manchester, or actually I think
you.
every week. And it says, what does it say in the ad? Reality-based psychic?
Yeah.
Now,
Unlock your mind for your spirit, which you must do with hypnosis, right?
Absolutely. Now, what do you mean by that, reality-based?
Reality-based is I'm the left brain psychic. I do not believe in unprovable psychics. I believe that everybody is psychic, that it lives within the 5 perceptions we're born with. It goes with how willing we are to trust our own perceptions, which is very little in most people.
Sure.
Men will be perceptive about career issues because they're allowed to be psychic. So you'll meet a mechanic who can stand on the corner and tell you what's wrong with every car that goes by. And women are supposed to be psychic about family issues. And that's because we're allowed to develop our senses, men about career, women about human relationships.
Yeah.
But there's no reason why women can't get psychic about careers and men about families. And
Right.
it's really just what we're allowed to use our senses, our perceptions for, and how much of our perceptions we're not allowed to use because we're born completely intuitive,
Okay.
which goes along with our survival instinct.
I remember you talking about that on Norm's show, that we're born intuitive, and then oftentimes society or the family or whomever puts all these pressures on us to not be intuitive.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's precise. We're born intuitive, which means we protect ourselves instinctively through our perception. If you put a baby on a glass table, they will go through the same reactions that a falling person will have.
Yeah.
Physically.
Sure.
They will make all the motions of falling
Right.
because they know they can't see anything under them.
Yeah.
People are trained to do the socially acceptable thing. Don't believe what you see, believe what I tell you. You're seeing. So that if somebody, is walking around with their hair falling out, you're polite and don't walk over and say, hey, Baldy.
Right.
We have to do the social thing.
Yeah.
So we're socialized out of our psychic perceptions.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by reality-based. We keep it real. We keep it grounded in it's happening. It happens because it's not weird. It's interesting because we allow ourselves to be perceptive.
You know what I just thought of that it had just never occurred to me before when you were talking about the baby on the table. It made me think of I learned how to swim late. I didn't learn until I was 13 years old. Most kids learn younger than that. But I've seen stories on television about how you put a baby in the water
And they swim.
and they just seem to know how to do it.
Instinctively.
Yeah. And I guess that kind of plays into what you were just saying. And
Survival instinct.
and I never made that connection until now on that particular thing. So that's interesting.
We don't connect ourselves to the rest of the mammals. The first psychic book that The most important psychic book anybody can read is Desmond Morris's Naked Ape, which is a book about anthropology.
Yeah.
But it's so important, and it has been such a basis for people like Kubler-Ross, Catherine Kubler-Ross, in her research on death and dying,
Yeah.
is to start with the anthropology of the human animal, the non-verbal signals we are giving each other,
Sure.
and that has so much more to do with it than third eyes or
Sure.
sixth senses, things that we'll never be able to prove exist in this
Right.
world.
Right. Do you not believe in those things at all, or do you just not operate in that modality, or?
If it doesn't exist, and it's not likely to be scientifically provable,
Yeah.
when you can prove it to me, I'll deal with it.
Right. Right.
So you ask me, why am I dealing with thinking I'm talking to dead people?
Yeah.
Well, that may be telepathy.
Okay.
On a spiritually, if I believe I'm talking to dead people, it frees me to not be afraid of death and to go on living
I
to the
see.
fullest extent.
Sure.
In reality, I admit that it's more probably a telepathic pickup when I'm sitting with you, that I'm able to telepathically pick up your memory of your people.
Right. Right.
So
Interesting.
it's I deal with spirit guides that can be affirmed, because if it proves telepathy, terrific. If it proves life after death, just as terrific. One's a scientific belief, one's a spiritual belief. They're both necessary.
Right.
They
right.
both sustain us.
Sure. Sure. Interesting.
But third eye is bandied about without people realizing that it is from ancient Hindu teaching,
Is it?
and it's a philosophy of chakras. It goes with the chakras. The third eye is a chakra,
Yeah.
not an original chakra, but a later invention chakra.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
So if you're going to talk about third eye, look it up. Better know what you're talking about.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And your website is it espcorner.com?
You got it.
Oh, okay. Very good. And now, what can we find on there? Information about you and Wendy, I would assume, and what you do,
That's right.
and if someone wants to book an appointment with you, they can do that through the site, I assume.
Right, and my book is coming out soon.
Oh, you have a
and
book?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember if did you mention that on Norm's show? I didn't think so.
No.
What,
This is radio. I better stop shaking my head.
That's all right. Well, tell me about the book. I didn't know about the book.
Well, it's about reality-based psychics.
Yeah?
It's called The Other Side of Psychic.
Okay.
And it is a redefinition of the word psychic.
Okay.
And it's a how-to as much as a why book. So it's how to ground and find your psychic ability and your psychic independence.
Okay. So it's sort of a guide in a way.
Well, the most important part is the redefinition of the word psychic,
Okay.
so that it'll be more palatable to more people.
Right. Right. Because I know a lot of people in this field won't even use that word, or they
Most
try to
people
avoid it.
in this field are the reasons why people don't allow themselves to be psychic. Sorry.
Understood.
You can't redefine something without stepping on a few toes.
Absolutely.
And I have been accused of psychic heresy,
Really?
but if that takes us out of the twilight zone
Yeah.
and into the real world, I am of an age, old lady, where I remember we couldn't even talk to our husbands about our psychic ability. We had to wait till they went to work and sit in each other's, hide out in somebody's kitchen
Yeah.
and talk to each other,
Right. Right.
because we were pretty close to, being thrown out of churches, thrown out of social groups.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. When does the book come out?
Oh,
Or do you know yet?
hopefully by the summer.
Yeah. Great. Well, we'll have to do another interview when the book comes out and help you
Terrific.
promote the book. Absolutely. I definitely
Thank
want to read that. That's great. Congratulations on that. So the website, one more time, is espcorner.com.
You got it.
Okay. And Dee, do you have any words of wisdom for our listeners before we wrap up?
Like, don't take any wooden nickels.
Those are certainly words of wisdom.
That's about as wise as I can get. People, if you're going to be psychic in the real world.
There we go. All right, Dee Bingham, thank you very much.
Thank you.